Greetings, this is Lynn Mann, and today's technology training is working through Windows Live account setup and talking about SkyDrive. So what we want to do is go to the Windows Live site. You can just type in the address box of home.live.com. So if you already have a Windows Live account, you can just sign in. But let's go ahead and work through the sign up process. First, you want to click on sign up now. So let's click on setup. And just like any other account, you need to put in your information. And I want to create a live ID. So I'm making up one that's lmtechtraininglive.com, and I need to check for the availability of this live ID. After you check availability, you'll want to create a password. It can be 6 characters minimum, and it is case sensitive. They are suggesting that strong passwords contain 7 to 16 characters, do not include common words or names, and combine upper lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols. So I'm going to create a password. And again, I need to retype my password. Now I won't bother putting in all the rest of this, but you want to put in an alternate email address. That way that in the event that you forget your password, that you will be able to retrieve your password. If you don't have an alternate email address, you can choose a security question for your password reset. So you just click on this, you select a question and a secret answer. Put in your first name, last name, your country, your state, your zip code, if you're male and female, and your birth year. Then you'll want to put in the security verification. You will want to read through the service agreement and the privacy statement. Once you agree, but you do want to read through this and understand what you're agreeing to. And then click Accept. Now that you're logged into your Windows Live account, it immediately takes you to your profile page. Now let's talk about SkyDrive. Well, first and foremost, what is SkyDrive? SkyDrive is a storage area of 25 gigabytes of space that you have up there on the cloud of the internet. What's the benefit of it? Well, number one, if I'm traveling around, or if I'm going to class, or if I'm going to business, I really no longer need to carry around a USB stick. Or I can use SkyDrive as a backup of that USB stick that I'm carrying around. The problem with USB sticks is, number one, they get lost. Number two, they get damaged and corrupted. And number three, if we need to share information with other people, that means we're going to have to hand over that USB stick. And there's no guarantee that that USB stick will, number one, come back. Number two, will not come back damaged. And number three, we don't want to keep a USB stick for every document that we want to share with other people. Well, that comes in as SkyDrive. SkyDrive, we have more than just a storage area. We have a storage area, a sharing area, and a collaboration area right at our fingertips as long as we have the internet. So let's get to SkyDrive. On your profile page, hover over Windows Live and click on SkyDrive. By default, SkyDrive, you are given one folder to start organizing your files. In this case, it's called My Documents, and you'll see the My Documents has a little lock on it, and we'll talk about the permissions in just a minute, but I want to talk about what you can do on this page. Number one, there's New. I'm going to click on New, and I can add a new folder and start organizing my files, or I can use any of the web applications of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote. What's the benefit of this? If I go to and use a machine, a computer that does not have Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or OneNote, I can use my SkyDrive to do it, to get to those web applications. I want to create a new folder. So I'm going to click on Folder, and I'm going to name this folder Public. So right now by default it's shared just with me, but I want to change this. I'm at the permissions page. Now when I set up a folder, I can immediately go there, but I'll also show you how to go there after you've already created a folder. I can share it with just me, or I can share it with some friends. Some friends would be those that I designate either from my contact list, or I actually enter the name or email address of the people that I want to be able to get to this SkyDrive. Now they can view the files, or I can change the permissions and I can let them add, edit, or delete files. Now let's say I want Bob and Sally to be able to add, delete files. So I would put their names down from my some friends. But let's say the rest of my friends that are in my contact list, I want them to be able to view the files. And that's it. Well, I can designate that by, again, then selecting on my contact list and selecting those that I want to add to the viewing capabilities. Now, another level of sharing is my friends and their friends. Now, by default, and the only option you have is they can view the files, because you can imagine that if you give my friends and their friends the ability to add, edit, and delete, well, that could get to be a real mess really quickly. And you could use up your 25 gigs of space pretty quickly as well. So your only option is they can view it. Or you can open it up to everyone, and they can view files. Now this everyone is the whole entire world. As long as they can get to and know how to get to your SkyDrive, they would have access to it. And I can set it up to where only maybe one person has the editing, adding, and deleting capabilities, and then the rest of everybody can see it. And I'm going to click on Next. I'm going to go ahead and change this to can view files because I don't want to add anybody. And right now I want to add a few files just for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to go browse and get a file. Okay, I've searched for and added a few files, and then I'm going to upload. Once the files are uploaded, these files are available now to the world as long as folks know how to get to my SkyDrive. So while I'm in this folder, I can go to Share. Now there's a couple of things I can do. Number one, let's say I want to change the permissions. So I can go to Edit My Permissions and change those permissions. I can send a link. So if I click on Send a Link, I can add the email address to whoever I want to send it to, include a message if you want, and click on Send. That would send an email to those folks with a button that they can click on to get directly into your Windows Live account. The other way you can do it is, let's say I want to get a link posted up on, I don't know, my Facebook page or any website so they can click on that link to come to the SkyDrive. So I can get a link. Now it gives me this long link. So this link can be very long, and you wouldn't certainly want somebody to type this link in. It's fine if they just click on it, but to type it in would be very tiresome. So there's a way around that. And let me show you that. I'm going to go to tinyurl.com. It's just one of those websites out there that will change long URLs into smaller URL. So I'm copying and pasting that big long URL from my SkyDrive, and I'm going to actually try and custom alias this. And I'm going to say something that makes a little bit of sense. And I'm going to say make tiny URL. The tiny URL is in place, and I can actually test to see. It's called tinyurl.com/lmtechdrive. And this is what everyone in the world will see if they go to that website. Here it is, public, and the two files. And now instead of this ugly URL, I just need to give out tinyurl.com/lmtechdrive to folks, and they would be able to get to this SkyDrive. Now that link is only going to be good as long as this folder exists. If I decide to delete this folder, that link will no longer be mapped to this location. So just to recap, we've created a Windows Live account, we've gone to our SkyDrive, we've created a folder, we've added documents, and we've shared that folder by getting a link, going to tinyurl.com to make it a little bit shorter and manageable of a link, and we can send that link out to anybody or set that up on the web to where when they click on that link, they get into our SkyDrive to access those files.